That boy can do everything.
That boy good, ain't he?
Yeah, he good. He good.
And as I said, even if Atlas himself had designed Melania Trump's dress, I would not have a thing to say about it.
Welcome back, Michelle. Oh man,
The same trick.
It's been so quiet around here. But welcome back, man.
I heard it was a little bit.
I mean, it was, but you know, welcome back.
Yeah, Debo talking about ratting and raving.
you had a whole week.
Walking around here looking like he just left Fargo. Ranting and raving. This hat you got on. Hello, Keith.
Good morning. Somebody posted
30 pieces of silver. Good morning.
Hey, man. And I wanted it cash.
Hello, sellouts.
Play with my monies.
And when you were talking about that, there's a book I love. It's in my top 13 books. Randall Kennedy's Sellout.
Who has a top 13? Not top 10, not top 20, a top 13.
That's just extra 3.
And it's a bad luck number at that. Who has a top 13? This is so different. It's just so extra.
I love Keith.
Who has a top 13?
Y'all got to see this cat face. Keith's face. Expression is hilarious.
Here we try to have one of these intellectual erudite moments.
Oh, erudite.
And here we go.
We dropping words.
You know you can't read 13 books. You can't spell 13.
Looking at the pictures.
You look at the pictures. All those picture books. I got 13 picture books.
Barack's top 10 books. Oprah's 20 books for summer reading. 13 is such a random bad luck number.
Man.
There you go.
13 a transition number.
It's different.
He don't know what a transition number is. Why is he even asking? What's a transition number?
I don't know.
That's what I said. I don't know.
So,
but it is most definitely different.
I can't with y'all, man. Okay, go back to your list of 13.
Man, let me give it to you.
What you say, Curry?
I have read at least 13 books. But Randall Kennedy's Sellout.
Oh yeah,
is
that's on the shelf right now. I didn't even steal that from you.
What's that? That's one that you didn't steal from me.
Yeah.
I have Catcher in the Rye. I have I hate to say it, Hillbilly Elegy, great book.
Oh my
Awful
God, I'm so
individual.
sick of you in that book.
I know.
I'm just sick of you in that book.
Plato's Republic. The Hog Butcher by Ron Fair, which later became Cornbread Earl and Me.
Wow.
That movie was based on that book. The only 2 black books they had at Dominican's Library.
I was getting ready to say, you took the words literally out my mouth.
For you, Keith. So have you read all of those?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude.
It's 13 books.
It's 13 books, man.
Too many words.
You know what I used to do?
I like pictures.
At the beginning of each semester, you could check out an unlimited number of books from the library in college.
Wow.
And I would go and get at least 7 books that had nothing to do with anything I was studying.
Oh. Okay.
Just to read. I mean, she knows I'm a book collector. She got some of them.
So
he sound like he want them back.
Crazy thing, it's like somebody take your sneakers.
Oh yeah.
And then you got my sneakers? No. And you looking down, she got them on.
Like, nah, bro, I don't know where your shoes at.
They look like.
I have to be careful because I sent somebody a picture and I was by one of my bookshelves. So you know what he did, what we do, when you look at somebody's picture, you looking in their house like, oh, let me see what they. And so he go, Negro, is that my book?
I'll never get that shot. That's my book. That's my book.
I got to, because I had been told I have it. I was lying. Straight line.
Let me tell you.
I was like, no, I ain't got that book. I look at it every day. And I finally was like, yeah, let me.
That's the one thing I like about Michelle, though. She doesn't lie.
No, she don't.
She don't. And Michelle be looking at you like, what is that called? Is that called, what's that called? There's a movie they did on it. It's, oh my God. It's, is it ghosting? It's something ghost.
Ghosting is when you just leave a person on dry.
No, but there's a thing where you go in and you convince the other person that what they're thinking isn't really real.
Donald Trump. That's what that's called.
Let's talk about. I did watch the inauguration. Rhonda doesn't even watch news anymore, and so she came in, and I'm watching it, and she said, "Oh yeah, you got to watch it because you got to talk about it." So I sat through it. Let me say something about Pastor Sewell from West Detroit. I didn't know there was a West Detroit. I always heard of gaslighting. Thank you. I didn't know that there was a West Detroit. I always heard about East Detroit. And I had never heard about West Detroit. But he grew up in East Detroit. And his whole story was he went from selling drugs to being a pastor. For some folks, that's a prerequisite.
It still is. For some.
Amen.
A whole bunch of Milwaukee pastors have that call to ministry. That was the route.
Did you sell drugs? You're called.
Wash your money.
So
Amen.
So they had 3 benedictions.
3
I am a student. I love benediction. I think that final blessing or benediction is benedictus, that blessing. And so they had a Jewish rabbi who got up, and he was just thankful to Donald Trump because Donald Trump is so supportive of Israel and the whole piece. Okay, got that. That wasn't surprising. Then this Negro get up. And I saw some interviews that he had done, and he said that Donald Trump had come to his church this summer. And that was that guy. He came to his church this summer, and Donald Trump heard him pray. He said, you know what, I'm going to have you at the inauguration.
But he's done a ton of faith leader events for the Republican Party. He's actually conservative and is heavily immersed politically.
Well, he also does business and wants to do business with HUD. So.
Yeah, I mean, but he definitely is immersed in the Republican Party in terms of local politics.
Let me tell you a little bit of training I got when I was at preacher school. Do what they ask you to do. No more, no less. Do what they ask you to do. If they ask you to pray, pray. Don't preach. Okay? So he gets up and he starts off, and then I'm noticing, is this dude doing a portion from Dr. King's speech or Washington?
I'm sorry, it wasn't all of it because it sounded almost like it was all of it. But okay.
No, but he did the part that we know.
Yeah.
Because there's that whole about 20 minutes of speech that's really boilerplate, Dr. King being intellectual Dr. King, right? That gets us to Mahalia Jackson looking at, because he was dying. That's what they call it in preaching.
Yeah, read the crowd, man.
And she said, Martin, do the dream. The interesting piece about that was, and here's this little Detroit connection, C.L. Franklin, in June of 1963, he did I Have a Dream at Cobo Hall in Detroit, and it's recorded. So if you want to hear the recording of I Have a Dream, he did it there.
I mean, because he had done it more than once. That's why Mahalia was able to tell him about the dream. Yep. She had heard it before.
And she knew, she's a singer. Yeah. You know, you got to close strong, right? This dude gets up and he does that whole, the end, the closing, the finish.
Yeah. And never. And never.
And never what?
Basically attributes it to King.
Hit again.
How many times did he reference Dr. King?
I didn't hear one.
Okay. I'm just saying.
I didn't hear one either.
I'm just saying.
And white folks was just so excited with the energy.
Yeah.
They wasn't hearing the substance. I'm going, dude, that's you didn't even change it up. You did it word for word.
Melania Trump. Word is my bond.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they don't care.
And I was going like, oh, this Negro. You can find one, can't you?
Oh, yeah. It's always one.
Yep. No, it's more than one in this case.
Well, yeah, it's always. And
then the Catholic priest who had also did the final benediction. And it was actually a good one. I don't know if Trump was listening. I don't even know if that dude knew, Sewell, that Dr. King was calling for justice. That justice is that you don't judge me based on the color of my skin, but content of character. He was talking about justice because justice was we being judged by the color of our skin.
No, but even Donald Trump says at one point that he's going to be colorblind.
Yeah.
He says that.
How you gonna do that?
But again, and where you're going with your question, it is not a good thing to be colorblind. Medically, it means you have a deficiency. You're not supposed to be born colorblind. It's an illness. It's a ailment. It is something that if people could fix, they would. Because who wants to walk around and only see black and white or gray?
Well, there's a lot of people want to see black and white.
Not in reality. Not in reality.
Metaphorically,
You
yes.
want to understand and see the color of a sunset. You want to understand and see the color in clothing and materials and beautiful displays. To be colorblind is to be deficient.
I think the only color Trump sees is green.
Yep.
That's the only color he sees.
No, I think he see two. He see green and white. I think he see both of them.
And that's
I
what
think he see both. I mean, but I
this
get
is
you,
what
though.
this inauguration felt like. It felt like the Third Reich. It felt like white supremacy.
Yeah.
If you looked at people of color, the only people now, the people you saw of color of real prominence are Indians, South Asian Indians.
They received the highest number of political appointments from him as well.
Right. And that gets back to in Uganda, the first thing Idi Amin did when he took power was he kicked the Indians out. He kicked them out the country because the British would bring Indians in
Right.
to do the government jobs, to do all those things. And so you could differentiate, but they were lighter than the indigenous Bantu people, right?
Didn't have the same hair.
Right, the whole thing. So you were able to do that. And the same thing happened in South Africa.
Mhm.
That's how Gandhi
Right.
ended up in South Africa, that the British would bring in Indians, right? And you have this tiered system.
Mm.
And the amazing thing is that Indians, some feel like they're honorary white.
Yeah, but that was the thing that Vivek ends up getting run out. Vivek Ramaswamy ends up getting run out of the new fake Doge department.
Right.
Because he was saying that we should prefer more nerdy Indian type looking people than the buffed, brawny. So he wanted brains over physicality.
Right.
And they end up running him out.
So when I don't know if it was in The Earth is Flat or Freakonomics, where they pointed out, this was back, they said the world changed in terms of the global economy in 2000 for whatever reason. He said, I want you to think about this. 10% of the Indian population is college educated. That's 100 million people. And so when you look at, for people to bring in folks who, and I have friends who are descendants of Southeastern Asian Indians, when you come in, and of course the other thing is that the immigration policy is such that America needs, what are you going to do to benefit? Many of us, if we were outside the country, would have a very difficult time immigrating to America legally.
I mean, but Marco Rubio just said when they were talking about that Trump has now halted any further money going out of the U.S. to aid different, entities for the next 90 days till they can review it. And Marco Rubio said, because basically you need to meet 3 criteria. How does this benefit America? How does this protect America? And it was one more thing, but it was all about inward looking. Like, we're not doing anything for benevolence or because it's the right thing to do or moral reasons. It's how does this benefit America?
But that's always driven American foreign policy. To be very honest, if we go in and you see American doing certain support, you need to go and look what's the next step. Because, and this gets us back to Bill Clinton, he saw no strategic interest in Rwanda. Therefore, he did not intercede.
Right.
Foreign policy has always been driven on American self-interest. That's how it works. That's why we do what we do. That's why you see people supporting certain things. If you have a government there, like, for example, Central America was important back in the 60s and 70s, even before that in the 50s, because America's fear of a communist stronghold happening in those countries. So you prop up those fascist governments. You saw the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, which were socialist leaning. But guess what? After a while, they got on the program because cash rules everything around me, right? Dollar bill. Cuba would have got on a whole long time ago, but because of the Cuban expatriates in Florida, we're always going to have a difficult time having normalized relationship. As a matter of fact, I just saw where Trump, one of the executive orders he did was related to Cuba, because Barack Obama did the opening to Cuba. Biden had tried to get through because Cuba found themselves in a tough situation. Cuba was a client of the Soviet Union, the biggest client, obviously, in this part of the Western Hemisphere. When the Cold War ended, Russia no longer sent support to Cuba. Cuba, being one of these truly socialistic countries, couldn't pivot. They didn't have the resources. Think about it. Everybody talks about China. At one point, China was a communist country. Now, the Communist Party still runs China, but China is a capitalistic country and is managed capitalism because the reason why China can build things so cheaply is that the government is taking care of the people. So when you look at the wages are not the same when the government is able to go in and support. So this idea that America is driven, so I appreciate his honesty, but it's worked that way with every administration. What America saw was no longer in her best interest to be in Afghanistan. And by the way, that pullout was negotiated by Donald Trump.
And then he blamed Biden
because of the deaths that happened. But that hard date was negotiated by Donald Trump.
That's crazy. And then I see that he signed another executive order too, for it's only 2 genders, male and female.
That is, but see, let me say this. We're part of that too, right? And when I say we, is people who would not have voted for Donald Trump agree with him on there only 2 genders. If we start talking about transgenderism, I can hear the rumbling, no, God only made 2. Obviously, gender is fluid, but he understands that plays to the crowd. What is the number of transgender athletes even playing? Can anybody give me the number?
Well,
pretty much like voter fraud and the election being rigged in 2016 or 2020.
2020,
right. So yeah, I mean, but that's red meat to the folks. They and because we're not going to have a scientific conversation about human biology, well, man, because boy, didn't they wear me out? Was that Friday?
Yeah,
they wore me out.
They jumped on your heels Friday.
Huh?
What happened?
I slipped and said that God is. Said she.
Oh,
you say she all the time.
It just settled.
Yeah, but it was personal Friday.
But you say that all the time.
It was personal.
That's like
Friday.
a running thing.
They had something personal.
There's a very, very, very special place in hell for me.
That's what people say.
Because I said God didn't have a gender, and what did I do that for?
Oh, they got lit.
Oh man, they got lit.
What?
I got lit.
Man, listen,
and my wife is packing my stuff because she don't want me bringing danger to the house.
They was on his heels. Dude, you hear me?
So what did the community overwhelmingly say? That there was a gender and it was male?
God is a gender and it's male.
Really?
Well,
yeah. Okay.
Yep.
You got a phone call.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the show.
Yeah, they was on his.
And all I said was,
and
the irony was, I had interviewed Bishop Tutu's daughter,
right?
And he wrote the book, "God is Not a Christian,"
right?
Which is a very interesting book. There's some things though, but I that book when he wrote it was during apartheid. And I have real problems with him in Israel, but but his whole point was that's where Ubuntu comes from. This idea of humanity and that we see the humanity of people. And she was trying to get me, I wish she would have been in person, how when they pronounce that particular branch of Bantu people, that when they're doing like kaksa, not haksa, kaksa, and she was trying to get me, but no, God doesn't have a gender. You can, in spite of the references, that God doesn't have a gender. The
Well, real
Bible
quick-
said, well, yeah, but God doesn't.
Real quick before I go, I got to go back and make sure I got all of it right. But the guy who spoke at Kingfest yesterday, who was ordained by Dr. King, he talked about that King James's version of the Bible was really written by black people. And that, if I think that's what he said, and that King James just put his signature on it.
Oh, did he?
But King James didn't.
Yeah, because I was going.
So I got to go back and read that or understand exactly what his comments were.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure that out. Were there African people in Europe that time?
It could have been.
We've been around since forever.
Yeah, but I don't know to the prominence that you get a chance to go in and translate the Bible. The King James is probably one of the worst translations of the Bible. We know that now. But
They said,
and look, man, people, and that was the question someone asked. Did God create us in his image, or did we create God in our image?
Oh, y'all true.
what they created. Well, I mean, by the time you get to a picture hanging up in the church with blonde hair and blue eyes, that was white folks creating God in their image, because that's not the description you got from the book.
Well, and you just do some
So there is an example of
anthropology.
that. Yeah.
They weren't blonde and blue eyed in the Middle East. Those are
Yeah.
Asian people.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
so
then, yeah.
and you got black folks right here in Milwaukee that cling to that dang picture.
See,
That
and if
picture
they-
is BS.
And if they read the Bible, it tells you his skin was of bronze and his hair was of wool. So don't know white people's skin is bronze and hair is of wool.
And let's just be clear: the only
Donald
people on the planet who got hair like wool is black people
Hey,
to this day.
to
Well,
this day.
the Aborigines in Australia.
But
Yeah.
where are they?
Where they
who do we connect
originate
them
from?
to?
Huh?
Where
Where they-
do we connect them
No,
to?
they were Sun people.
They weren't white people though.
No, they weren't. They were Sun
Right.
people.
So
Some people is
Sun
black.
people.
Sun, like S-U-N?
Sun.
yeah,
S-U-N.
they,
Yes.
they was black.
Yeah.
Because you look at some of these folks from from like Polynesia,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
look like the hair, the whole
Yeah.
piece.
I'm just saying. Anyway,
All right.
Yeah.
a mess.
Did I get everything right? Shout out to Carrie out in the wood. Amen.
Oh, they said that he didn't put his hand on the Bible. Deborah Jenkins said she noticed he never put his hand on the Bible.
Scared of getting struck.
Yeah, because he knows it was a whole lie. That's why.
And you know, your God Bless America on Carrie Underwood. That song, when you go back historically, one of the people who made the song famous, she was a big, proponent of singing racist songs beforehand.
Wasn't that what's her name? They always play
Kate
that. Kate, was it Kay Francis? Kay
Smith.
Kay Smith.
Kay
Yep.
Smith.
But because back in the day, the Philadelphia, what is their hockey team?
Flyers.
They played that before every. God
And then when
bless
they
them.
realized, because the song was heavily associated with her, because she commissioned the writing of it, that and these are immigrants too. I love it all. That the songs that we sing and we cling to was written or commissioned by immigrants, and a lot of them got racist backgrounds to them. And so oh, it's beautiful. Just need you to appreciate the history of some of this mess. Yeah,
Just
sorry.
take the fun out of it.
She back.
She back. Wah, 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 wah.
And she didn't bring
You're
my
listening to
Christmas
Community
chicken.
Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Milwaukee Black.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are
If you heard the whole song, you would. You have to.
I mean, you come
And
here
I have
with
you
like
dancing.
$1
Right?
Jeez.
Shoot, if you was at all back in the club back in the 80s, you'd have to know that.
That's Lakeside,
All the
right?
way
Yeah,
live.
it's Lakeside.
I saw them perform one time. I'm going like, I ain't saying y'all do crack, but y'all look crackish. You know, you looking crackish when you can still fit in your 70s gym suit.
Yeah.
Remember how tight those gym suits were? in the
Yeah.
70s? And your 70s gym suit hanging off you, you done lost a couple of pounds, man. You just kidding.
That's hilarious.
Oh man, dude, you can still fit in. They sent us our original jerseys from the year we won the state championship. I don't know where I'm getting. I don't know how I got in that jersey. What I weigh, 108 pounds?
There's no way I'm getting in that jersey.
You
Oh,
wore 'em tight though.
oh, it was tight.
Yeah.
Look,
Them shorts were tight
those
too,
shorts
boy.
were tight, man.
High and tight.
And you know, with women's basketball, you see a lot of women now
Mm-hmm.
wearing, you know, because they got great legs. They want to show the. But this dude was playing for. Oh, he was a college player, and man, I'm talking about his thighs were so developed
Yeah.
that it just expanded the shorts.
Yeah.
They
Mhm,
looked tight.
mhm.
Yeah.
You know, you could just see the muscle
Yeah.
development.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of women now you seeing they and we gotten away from the baggies. You know, we ain't
Man.
Fab Five looking anymore.
Man, they used to be like wearing a plastic bag. Our uniforms were so big and baggy. They'll be out.
Oh yeah,
You try
yeah.
to cross over, throw the ball between
Yeah.
your legs, and they hit off the.
It was just, you know, it's like dudes sagging. Hard to
Yeah.
run when you sagging, ain't
It's
it?
crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
TJ
mean,
Ford uniform used to be like he had on bell bottoms.
he was a number one pick for the
He was
Bucks.
number
wasn't
one pick, but he was so little, and his
he? I worked with his
outfit-
cousin.
Really?
I worked with his cousin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. TJ Ford. There's the name. Well, inside Be Healthy Be You, Miss Julia Means.
Good morning.
Miss Brenda Buchanan.
Good morning.
How's everybody?
Cold.
I didn't know if y'all gonna make it, but
I didn't want to, but Julia's like, well, I'm like, all right, I'll come, because we could have done it over the phone. But you know, Julia, no, I'm going.
because
I said,
she
all right.
want us to see that fur coat.
I'll be there.
Let's see that fur coat.
Well, because I knew I could be warm.
Yeah.
You were warm. You hot.
I could be warm. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I gotta go check on the church if I'm down
man.
there. So.
I'm so layered.
Yes,
I
that's
am
what
so
you have
layered,
to do.
man.
Yeah.
It is.
We from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We know about
Bless you.
Bless you.
bless you
You know what? I'll take the cold.
over the snowstorm.
Well, I can't take the cold after you wore me out last week about the cold.
Oh, thank you. There's some over here, but thank you.
No,
Yeah,
but
you just wore me
I don't
out.
know
It
where
made
that
me-
came
what were you thinking about the people that
Obviously, I wasn't.
I mean, afterwards.
No, I was depressed. I was going like, wow. I just go
I
out in the
didn't mean
cold,
that.
look up and see the stars. You know, there are people who can't be out in this weather. I'm hearing this voice like, where's Julia?
the man that fell, never
Yeah,
got up.
Yeah. Yeah.
He went down and
You know what? That happened to one of our neighbors.
oh,
She went in the backyard. She was elderly. I don't know if she's taking garbage out. She fell, and they found her next. It don't take long.
Oh no,
Don't
it
take-
doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't
Not
take
in
long.
these kind of
Not in this
temperatures.
weather.
Mm-mm.
So, but you know what? It's snow on the ground in Houston.
I know, and they're supposed to get a lot of almost all part of Texas.
Yeah.
See, in some places like 8-10 inches.
Right. So better them for the snow to me. I can deal with the cold. That snow, that's a different animal. And I used to like snow, but not now.
Well, drive. If you could just stay at home, it's different.
Yeah.
But having to get out, shovel it, drive in it, get all messy. That's what
My
snow
cousins
does.
who grew up overseas and in warm climates came up a few years back. They were kids. And so they came up in December. And they're going, we can go out in the snow. They were out there for 3.5 minutes.
uh-huh.
They've changed their mind.
Changed their mind. Like, yeah, it looks like it's fun, but it's not fun. The last time we snowed, I went to an event and I had on the wrong shoes. And I was slipping and sliding.
Oh, yeah,
and slipping
for
and
sure.
sliding. But I was determined to get to where I was going to get to because I wanted, I was on that side of town. I go get burgers from Archie's Flat Top.
Mhm.
Have you been there yet?
No, I've been wanting to go.
You gotta
so we have to. You have to take me
Okay. All right.
because I've been wanting to go, and I know
But
the
you're
one
paying.
that they're okay. I'll pay, but they're closed on Tuesday.
Right. They don't open
So,
till
but I've
Wednesday.
been wanting to go.
Yeah, they do. What is it? Scratch ice cream, which
It's from scratch.
is from
Yeah,
scratch.
homemade.
It's homemade. So I went, man, and I'm slipping and I'm sliding. This kid go, "It's really slippery out here, sir."
It's like, oh, really?
No
Thanks.
stuff,
I
Sherlock. Yeah, as
didn't know that.
I'm not looking like Nancy Kerrigan. Yeah, I mean, just
Yeah,
When
go.
it's
Keith.
do a triple
slippery,
axel.
doesn't
Not
matter
trying
what
to,
kind of
but
shoes you got on or what. You gonna slip and slide.
No, I
Whatever.
think it grip helps.
yeah, a couple years ago we had all that ice, and I had to buy those little spikes you hook on the bottom of your feet because I was sliding all the time.
But you said something a few months ago. As we get older, you were saying that we tend to shuffle more.
Yes, we don't pick up our
We
feet.
don't pick up our feet, and that's when. So I was walking in the snow. I said, "Pick up your feet. Stop sliding. Pick up your feet." I was still
Heel to
slipping and
toe,
sliding.
heel to toe. Pick it up, heel
it up.
down first. Yeah.
And you have to be a little bit more conscious of it
Mm-hmm.
in terms of where we are. But the hypothermia and frostbite bites talk much where people are out, and I'm thinking now the skin exposure now is like 10 minutes.
Probably not even that in extreme weather.
Does Vaseline help?
No.
It feel good though.
Right, but it
'Cause
doesn't
you're-
really help.
it's-
That Vaseline freeze real quick too, and then you've got that cold on your hands even more. So it doesn't really help.
I was working at our Avenue Playground one summer. It was hot. It was in the 90s. So if it's the temperatures in the 80s and 90s, that means the asphalt is at 100. And I got sunburned. So, and I remember I was sunburned where just ouch. And my mother go, "Oh, just gonna put some Vaseline on." I'm like, so what are you gonna just deep fry me now?
Vaseline was a miracle for everything. Everybody had big old jars of Vaseline in their house growing up.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. Oh yeah, my mama at this time of year before we left the house, put on some Vaseline.
All greased up.
And then I do just have little blotches. So my mother just
Good for
between that-
keeping the moisture in the skin, but
between that and then don't have her brush your head. Oh my God. Notice I said head, not hair. Because she hit you with that brush and you kind of going like, have you brushed anything? Because all I'm feeling is. So today.
But she loved you and she cared. Some kids come to school nowadays with no supervision.
and no Vaseline.
And no Vaseline.
No, all dry.
No hair comb. No.
Yeah.
Nothing.
The year of the Cold Bowl, December 1967. It was 13 below zero, and it was so cold. Back then they didn't cancel church. No one just showed up, right? So we didn't go to church, but my mother sent me to the store. It was the coldest 3-block walk ever, and I had on every piece of clothing I had in the house. It was still
Cold.
Yeah. The Hawk don't play.
No.
It doesn't.
No. And the thing is, if you're really hot, which you got to bundle up and you don't have the right kind and you start sweating, then that sets you up for even more problems because then that sweat gets cold.
Well, that's now with your base layer now, it absorbs moisture.
Right.
That's the big difference where you see the technology is such,
It's so different now.
right, that you have where you're out. So even though you do sweat, it's being absorbed. But I didn't realize like men who work out in the cold put deodorant on their feet
So they don't sweat.
so they don't sweat.
Makes sense. So so that it doesn't freeze.
So it doesn't. Yeah.
See, well, I mean, like in situations like that, even now, man, I use baby powder to keep my feet dry. Yeah, Doc.
Oh, you powder. You powder.
Bring the powder.
Right. But then that just absorbs the moisture. So maybe the two of them together, because that just absorbs the moisture, but the antiperspirant keeps it from actually sweating.
I was gonna say at one time I went to
Sometimes you
play
need more
ball.
than just
I was
powder.
at the gym playing ball, and I put too much baby powder in my socks, and I was out there like Puff the Magic. No, I was out there like Puff the Magic Dragon. Every time I stepped, was like a poof of
Right, they got to stop, clean up the floor
running
so
down the
nobody
court.
slips and slides.
I was like, man, take him out the game, man. He messing the floor. There was baby powder everywhere, man. I felt so embarrassed, man. I had to go back to the locker room and shake it out. It was powder everywhere.
That's your question. Did you put cologne on when you played?
Well, I put cologne on when I got out the shower. So
No. But when you played,
I know. Yeah,
did you smell good when you played?
Yeah, I was smelling good when I played. Because I would take a shower and put cologne on and then put my uniform on. So I'd be out there like, smelling great.
Throw me on a little brute.
Brute 45. Burn your little skin.
Give me some brute out here. Who knows? I might catch a boyfriend. I'm just smelling good playing basketball against some other dude.
The girls are looking at you. They come up to you after the
cheerleaders.
game, and
every time I scored, I'd be
why would you put it on? You don't like to play.
Well, because as soon as the game is over, the girls are coming up to you. You don't want to be.
Well, that wasn't my experience, Brenda.
And you want to smell sweaty out there. It was like for me, even though that we was playing ball, I just always wanted to.
So you showered before the game?
Oh yeah.
That's not supposed to be. Well, that's interesting.
Shower before the game. Like in school, our games used to be like at 7:00. So you had the freshmen that would play first at like 4. So like when the JV went, like after halftime, I would go in whenever, take my shower, put my uniform on, and get ready.
Why don't you shower at the crib?
Because I was at the school
all day. You just stayed at the school.
Yeah. Because I was on.
Look, I'm out here playing against some hard legs. Yeah, I want to be as funky as possible.
I was hanging out with the cheerleaders, so I wanted to be
smell good.
That's it. That we was hanging out.
Well, my junior year, I was near the cheerleaders because at the end of the bench. So,
so you didn't get no PT. Wow.
I spent a lot of time down there with the cheerleaders. I could do the cheers. It was just.
Oh, maybe you should have joined the cheerleading team. You would have got more action.
Even, you're track and field, and you look at the women in track and field. I mean, they got makeup on.
Now I know hair
nails,
done, earrings, everything.
Wow, it was just show up and run, man.
Yeah, now everybody. Huh? Well, it's the same in the WNBA. You look at some of those women out on the court; they're looking fantastic.
And then you have some others who are
some of them are
really natural.
That's right,
really natural.
I think I'd want to be natural if I was at that level.
Would be like the Skylar Diggins Smith, Juju, Juju, Plum.
Oh yeah.
There's some women out there, Asia Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, but now they got the hair,
and
the nails, doing the nails, and well, if you look at, I was watching when UCLA played South Carolina. They played the second game of the season, and you could look at the women on UCLA's bench, and they were from Hollywood. I mean, they were like
all glammed up,
right. But I know style is real important. We were watching when Barack Obama came in yesterday.
He did that walk.
Oh, he got Barack got the swag. It was just
he did that walk.
And Ronnie go like, look at Barry. Look at Barry. See the way he shook hands. It was just like, hey, that's Obama, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that brother got swag. And you know what? He wasn't born with that swag.
No.
No.
He's born in Hawaii, lived in Indonesia.
Yeah.
So he got that swag when he went to Chicago. But once he picked it up,
it was in him.
Oh God, the way Barack Obama. I think there's people that you kind of watch walking, and Barack Obama. Tell you somebody, Michael Douglas. If you ever just, and then of course Denzel.
Yeah, Denzel has it.
They said he became a minister.
Got baptized.
Yeah.
Well,
coaching.
Really?
Okay. He said his dad was a coaching.
Right. He grew up. Is he at West Angeles?
I don't know.
Because that church is really the Church of Stars. Stevie Wonder is at West Angeles.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson's at West Angeles. His son took over, right?
I don't know.
I think Bishop Blake's son took over.
Yeah.
He took over? Yeah. I love Bishop Blake. I just thought he just had such his persona was one of like elegance and yeah, he was one of my favorite bishops, and he was one of the longest serving bishops in the Church of God in Christ. All right, 414-444-5250. We got the good folks in from Ascension, Wisconsin, Miss Julie Means, Miss Brenda Buchanan. Today we're talking about the frigid weather. The good thing is that we will be out of this evening.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna start getting warmer as the day
Mm-hmm.
goes on.
You know, I had class last night, and I really thought nobody was going to show up. I had 8 people show up. I'm like, it's cold out here.
Why didn't you cancel?
It's not really up to me to cancel.
Oh, okay.
And so I for sure thought nobody would show up. I was all ready to go back home, and here they came. I was like, ooh. Now tonight is canceled.
Yeah, well, tonight it's going to warm up. It's supposed to warm up today, right? Man. Well, I'm looking at folks out here now, and at least they're dressing for it.
They ain't got no choice.
Huh? Oh, you got a choice. Vanity is...
Yeah.
Because I was now... And it's funny because being from Wisconsin, when you hear people talk about cold, we be going like, dude, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? So I think it was like in the 20s in DC yesterday. We out at 20s. They sold out Lambeau Field when it was like 15 below zero.
Oh, sure. Yeah. They always do.
I
remember sitting at a Packer game, and it was a cold one. I was a little younger, and I was still I was totally bundled up. And there was a young lady there sitting with a leather skirt on and pantyhose, a short leather skirt. She was trying to be cute for somebody, obviously. I'm like, honey, he can't even see you up here, and if he does, he's thinking,
crazy.
Right. I was like, wow. I mean,
but Michelle Obama was bare-legged when they did the first inauguration. She wasn't wearing hose. That's always been amazing to me, though, because when women have to wear like skirts or dresses, and back in the day, that's where women were really in pants. That had to be cold.
Well, and back in the day, you had to wear pantyhose or stockings or something. There was
how much protection with the pantyhose?
Well, a little better than nothing.
Right, okay.
But you had to, and in the winter you could wear heavier ones. But that was an expectation. Now nobody hardly wears tights or pantyhose or anything like that, unless it's for a fashion statement, but not just a regular. Put your skirt on and put on some pantyhose.
Do anybody still wear long johns and thermals?
I do.
Heck
base.
yes.
I do base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't call them long johns anymore. It's called base wear.
It's called who?
It's called base.
Oh man, I'm late then.
So
and then Cuddle Duds is a brand that you see that has a lot of base layers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm real behind them, man. I'm calling them long
really
johns.
like lightweight. It's not like the old thermals where they were
thick.
Yeah.
But they're moisture wicking and tight woven, so they really are nice. So they keep you nice and dry, but warm.
Because I used to see some people wear those as like sleepwear, like they would sleep a long john.
Oh man, my uncle in Tennessee, when he worked in the field in the summertime, would have on thermals.
Oh,
yep. It was something about how it kept the moisture or something, but they'd be out in the field.
Well, shoot, especially if you've ever picked corn, you got to have long sleeves and long shorts on because you will be itching for days. And we wrap the beans around the corn.
Okay.
You plant it next to the corn. So if you're out there picking beans, I mean, you're going to be miserable if you don't have long sleeves and long pants on.
What's going to happen?
You're going to itch so bad. It's the yes, yes, and it really causes a severe itch. So that's why you see them.
My uncle and I had a house, and they had a hill, and I don't know if you ever rolled down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And they be going like, "You sure you want to do that?" Oh yeah, we kids just roll it down the hill. Couple of rolls down that hill. You up here now.
Yeah, itching like crazy.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even in the hot weather, like if you go in the Caribbean, especially people that are working in it, they wear those rash guards, those long sleeve body suits or shirts, and it's hot, but it's protecting them from the sun.
When we were in Panama, they could only work 25 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Really?
It was so hot. They had on a lot of protection, but they could only work 25 to 30 minutes, get hydrated, go back to work. You had these women who they figured it out, so they would bring like these food trucks. And I said, that's really interesting. The guy said, yeah, because what happens is when they break, no, they would say that on payday they would pay her. Right? It was they were building. Chinese was actually financing it. They were building a highway, were repairing the roads anyway, but they said no, they can only work like 30 minutes at a time. That's why they lost a lot of people building the Panama Canal, between malaria and heat, but now, because even in, Qatar, where they were going to do the World Cup, I think Qatar, they're doing the World Cup, and it was so hot, they brought in workers, but it'd be 105 degrees, and these people out working, and people go, well, humidity, it wasn't even humid. It was
hot.
It's just hot.
It's just hot. Hit number 5 for me. No, the other 5. There you go. Carla, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It was an African American young man passed away from the cold. He was laying next to some train tracks to keep it's an element, they said, that keeps the tracks from freezing. And he passed away from the cold. And also, the lady was talking about the corn patches. Also, the okra patches. You got those.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
That'll tear you up.
Butt whooping for weeks.
Listen to you pioneer women.
It's no joke.
You go on that okra patch, it's worse than the red ants down south. Yeah. And then you got to be like fleas for days. Yep. All right. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you.
And a lot of plants have chemicals in them that are protectant for them.
Right.
There's like some plants, you grab them and you'll get a severe burn that'll last for days and days. So, it's something that they give off that, the itch is intense. Very, very intense.
This time of year, let's talk about dry skin. You Ashley Larry? Right, did you see Ashley Larry on Saturday Night Live? Ashley Larry. Donnell Rollins, the only live comedian I've ever seen. Most of them I've watched tape, but the only live one I've ever seen was Dave Chappelle. When Dave Chappelle came to Milwaukee, and Donnell Rollins opened for him. That brother is funny. Oh man, he's funny. But Ashley Larry, so let's talk about dry skin in the wintertime.
It gets really dry, and you need to take care of it. And our moms used to do the Vaseline, but now there's
that Vaseline would dry you out. Won't it?
No, one of the best things you can do, Vaseline, if you can. Well, first of all, we dry out because one, you see how dry it is outside, and our furnaces, so it just wicks all the moisture out of us. But petroleum, which is Vaseline, petroleum based, really kind of locks the moisture in. So especially if you've like taken a shower, you get out, put on some sort of cream. Creams are better than lotions. Lotions aren't as moisturizing as a cream. And then you can even put Vaseline over that to trap that in.
What about like the Nivea oils? Does that?
Shea butter. Everybody
the shea
butter. Yeah. And those are like heavier. Those things are much nicer than just a regular lotion. But if you're going to take a bath or a shower, the best time to moisturize is as soon as you get out and dry yourself off, put it on. But yeah, I don't know if you can dry yourself out, but
like a raisin in the sun.
right. All crinkled.
Once you get out of detox, once you get, you know what he go like, we gonna dry you out. We're gonna dry you out.
a lot of, we love perfume things, which are good, but a lot of those can be drying and irritating too. So, and we love to take baths, showers, but in the winter time, especially if you got little babies and that, you don't have to bathe them every day. You bathe the important places, right? Keep them clean and
Pits
not
and
smell.
valleys.
Yeah, there you go, pits and valleys. You got it. And if you're a grown up, then feet too. They need to be washed. Yeah, feet need to be washed.
But they did say that we wash off a lot of
The oil. Well, we do. We got those natural oils that protect us, and
right.
especially the hotter the water, the more we wash those off. So for your little ones, just clean the necessary parts, like Julia says, pits and valleys. And for us adults, we also want to hit those feet.
Let me shout out my guy Pratt. He is in Houston, Texas. He sent us pictures. He showed us the snow. The wind chill is negative 29 degrees.
Oh, wow.
That's cold for here. That is cold for here.
Imagine what it is for them.
You can imagine they're not prepared for that.
No.
Right. And they said the way they build houses in Texas is that heat escapes because it gets so
Yeah.
hot. So it doesn't keep heat in. So the way, but yeah, he's from Milwaukee, grew up here. But man,
At least I have a friend that lives down in Texas. I told her, you might as well come home.
Right.
Well, and you know what? And let me do some hate here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had friends who moved to South and they just talk about the weather. I don't miss Milwaukee until winter comes. And they find out how ill-prepared the South is for our winters.
Yes.
And because of climate change, they're now seeing weather events they've never seen before with the frequency or the intensity that we see. So when you talk about how important it is to hydrate?
Extremely important. Water is your best source. And if you got to have something else, preferably something non-caffeinated, and of course not alcohol, because those two things both dehydrate you. So water is your best bet.
When you see football games and it's cold and these guys are out there without shirts, they've been liquored up though.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. And then you see a lot of frostbite and a lot of with them because they're not noticing, they're not feeling what's going on with their body because they're drunk and they're
so that's what's keeping them warm doing the alcohol.
Yeah, they're not really warm. They just don't feel it because they're so into what they're doing and they're drinking. That's why a lot of people drugs, alcohol are more likely to be, have hypothermic. And there's some medications that can make it worse, but when you're out there in the elements and you're under the influence heavily, you don't notice things the way that you would. Before you know it, your fingers are frozen and you're setting up frostbite.
Yeah, because I was always wondering, man, because, watching the football games, see them drinking beer, but they have their shirts off and they cheering and all type of stuff. And I'm looking like...
Let me give you a hot football game story. What football game got to have a beer, right? Give me a cold beer. Wrong. No, you don't want to drink cold beer when it's hot.
Oh.
I was immediately on the ice.
Oh, so you get sick?
You're going to feel it. You're going to feel the effects, man. It doesn't, I didn't need a beer. I needed some real fluid. But there are people, that's the only way they can.
Sure, because you get dehydrated so quickly that from the alcohol. It triggers your kidneys to filter out more fluid when you drink alcohol.
So even if I'm doing like my normal caffeine routine, in the wintertime, I should be mindful of it to make sure I'm replenishing myself with fluids.
Sure.
In summer too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just, and you got to think about it. It takes energy for your body to move in this cold weather. And so you're exerting a lot of energy, just more than what you would have been if the temperatures were normal. So you just, like you said, you walk those 3 blocks. That you get back home, you tired
and cold,
but all that takes energy.
And I don't think the house is really that insulated.
Yeah.
Now my grandmother, God love her, I'm telling you, it could be 15 below zero outside. It's 87 in her house.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
I know that my mother, when her last 2 years of life, you had to go take your bathing suit with you if you were going to sit in her house because it was so hot, you know. But when Julie was talking about energy too, when it's really cold out, your body is trying to preserve function. So all of your organs, your liver, kidneys, everything that's kind of in here, in our torso area, all your blood is really diverted there to stay nice and warm and keep those organs working. So that's why your hands, your feet, your blood circulation decreases in those areas, because your body knows I can live without fingers, toes, and that, but I have to keep these vital organs going. And so that's why, when you can't see your veins when it's really cold, because they go down under and you're getting less circulation because your body's diverting all it needs to keep those internal organs at the optimal temperature, keep them working.
That army is fighting for you.
So our body's like, look, you can live without that finger over there, but your liver, it needs that blood supply and heat.
Chocolate is great, right, for energy or
taste.
Yeah, taste. But it's also got caffeine in it too.
Yeah.
No, but I was at a protest in Madison a few years back, and it wasn't a brownie. I ended up getting a nice coffee cake, and I was cold when I went in, but after that, when I went outside, I could feel. So does sugar, cocoa, those kind of things, do they help maintain body temperature?
They really don't help maintain body temperature, but they do give your body, that's your body's source of energy.
Okay.
Is when you're eating things like that. So, temporarily your body's getting more, it's getting the energy it needs, especially if you're not diabetic or your diabetes is controlled, it's going into those organs and everything it needs to function properly, but it doesn't necessarily keep you warmer.
Make you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So it has so if they give me a piece of chocolate, for example, it's going to give me energy. Part of giving me energy means that I'm going to heat up the body too, right? If I'm doing something.
Well, it's given energy because you need that on a constant basis.
Okay.
That's when we eat our carbs and our body breaks those down, preferably, and moves those into all of your organs so that they can function properly. And then we could get into diabetes when that doesn't happen and your organs don't work properly. But, it does give your body a source of energy, which you need.
What about this breathing this air when it's cold like this? Does that have any impact?
Not good for the lungs to get all that cold air at once. It's not good. That's why they said put a scarf around and face mask and keep everything covered because you want your air to be at more normal temperature.
And especially if you've got like asthma or something like that, that cold air makes your those bronchioles in your lungs spasm. Yeah. And so that'll, you start coughing and having trouble breathing. If you can, breathe through your nose has things in it that warm up it. So by the time it gets to your lungs, it's a better temperature. But, when it's cold out and we're working hard, you might be breathing through your mouth too. And that's just straight cold air going to your lungs.
You were tickled by that, but
when you're walking out in the cold, you're gonna breathe through your mouth. So
I like to see the.
Well, I was saying because the vessels and the bronchioles in your lungs when it's cold, they're gonna close up or spasm.
Would there be a different diet that or things we should eat when it's cold or bitterly cold, or we should just maintain what we normally do?
Soup is good.
Yeah, I would say I think when we're like I made a big old giant pot of soup yesterday. Those kinds of things are nice and warm and they feel good as opposed to a salad. Salad's good, but when you do eat warm food, it does warm you up. Just like we came in, you never see Julie and I, we both got a little decaf coffee to warm us up when we came in. That does help.
So I lost my train of thought. You were talking about certain things that we would eat. Obviously, we want to eat. You probably higher carb. Do a higher carb intake because you need that sugar because the body is working to heat itself.
Well, if you're going to do higher carbs, they need to be good carbs. So like your veggie sources and, not your breads and all that kind of stuff. But, you can get plenty of good carbs from the veggies that you eat.
And that's if you're going outside and you working. If you're sitting at home chilling, watching TV, you
Yeah, right. Which is, if I wasn't here today, is exactly what I'd be doing.
That's what we will be doing.
I think Martin would be on.
Yeah.
Well, I think because we don't we deal with the cold. The best way to deal with it, a lot of us just stay out of it.
Yes.
And boy, you hate to just be one of those guys, right? But I was thinking when I was listening yesterday they talked about possible school closings, and I, as a child, could remember that we never got out of school for cold. Snow, yes. And that had everything to do with, buses and other things.
I was just saying, many of you went to neighborhood schools and stuff
right.
too.
And so we never got out of school and I remember going to school on sub-zero days, and it was just like, get there. And when I was in middle school, I had to walk a mile. Now, let me say this because my mom did
at least
love
it
me.
wasn't 10 miles with no shoes. So
Up a hill.
Yeah. In the winter.
4 feet of snow. And you know what? I was glad.
I had the privilege of going to school.
I had the privilege of going. But that's I know I have acquaintances from Africa. I have this guy, man, is amazing. MIT, University of Chicago, 2 PhDs. He talked about, he came from Cameroon, and he said that he literally had to do 4 miles to school, 4 miles from school. So he says you worked to buy a bike just so you could do. But can you imagine people walking 4 miles, 5 miles for education?
No, not in this country. Be like, what?
But in the South, there were people who literally, before they had buses, would have to walk past the school that was in their neighborhood to get to their school. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies. Good morning.
Happy New Year to you.
When I was younger, I walked during the winter. And then after I had some heart issues, my cardiologist warned me not to be out in certain cold, and he told me if I needed to carry a bottle of nitroglycerin. He said, because if something happens, you need to be able to take it, and it'll help clear you with your heart issues while you're walking. And so the next winter, I didn't walk anymore in the winter. I would do it in sub-zero weather, and I just walked. But that warning I took to heart. So I take it seriously now. But I did want to just tell you, ladies, I did just recently. I got a call from UW-Madison and Freighted. I got put back on the kidney transplant list.
Congratulations.
Oh, awesome!
And it was interesting because I went through the year of heart and prostate cancer. When I went through the 8-9 months of that, they won't clear until you're cleared. You can't stay on the list. Everything must be working right. So I feel good. I know I don't have to keep my phone on at night, and I got to always be ready. So it's God works in mysterious ways. They would never have found those things if it wasn't in kidney transplant protocols, but because they found those things, they could correct them. So it's pretty interesting. And one thing I was talking about with my doctor, I said, I used to be so hard-headed, but I've learned over the last number of years that hard head make a soft behind, and I can't just throw away all that I've been told not to do. because it means something when you hear from an example. I always tell them I majored in architecture, not medicine, so I don't want to be a doctor. You just tell me what I'm supposed to do, and then I'll do it.
I wish more people would be mindful that in that office, one of you all went to medical school and one of you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we forget that sometimes. But man, if this is what they're telling you need to do for your recovery, what is that thing? Trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
And people always talk. Yeah, I was listening to, though, this had nothing to do, but when you were talking about trust the process, now they have to do disclosures when they're selling, medicine.
Sure.
And they had one where they were saying something like, if you get some type of between your anal part and something, you need to immediately call your doctor because you could die.
Yeah,
is the cure worse than the illness?
Yeah, I never thought about the spot between my groin area and my butt. I never thought about what it meant. All of a sudden, now it's got a name, and you go like, well, what I'm supposed to know? How I'm supposed to know when I'm damn near gonna die from something?
Well,
like
I
that?
guess hopefully, but when I saw that, I was going, and now you hear people, they all the side effects is kind of going like, is it really?
I know it's scary for people, but you have to remember most people don't have those side effects.
Yeah, but how life is. I get
right.
it.
Yeah. Right. But
everybody didn't get it. I got it.
Yeah, but it's just like when you go have surgery, right? You're all ready for surgery. Then the doctor tells you all the possible risks associated with the surgery, and you're like, "Wow, I might not make it out of this."
While you're laying there, you've just been told, "Well, you better just get me to sleep quick as you can, because I ain't nothing I can do about it at this point unless I get up and leave this table." And I say, "Well, I can't do that." So,
well, one of my relatives went in for finger surgery, and you would have thought, and I said, you know what? If you die from outpatient surgery, you think we're not suing? Mm-hmm. Lawyer.
Yeah. So I don't know. They can keep David Gruber and them away from me for surgery stuff, but I tell you, you do think about it though.
So
can I make a quick comment on that though? When they talk about the settlements you get, and then they have the actual clients, and you look at them going like, "You didn't fully recover, didn't you?"
Well, you know what I thought? You took it even further. I take it even further. I said, you ever notice they only have a shot of you from waist up?
Right.
I want to know what's going on with the rest.
He got me money, but dude, you don't. And thank you God you lived, but who was it? Oh man,
yeah, I know we're living in time pretty soon they probably won't even need them. They'll just AI something.
Mm-hmm. I don't. Do you think? I know we're fearful of it, and I guess we should be. Those of us who come from a certain generation remember when Dick Tracy was doing he could talk on his watch.
Oh yeah,
and now that is you do it. You know,
what was that?
Michael Knight.
Oh yeah, his car.
Yep, and his
car was so smart.
Kit
was smart.
Yeah, Kit. Yeah, and now cars is
Definitely
driving by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who won? Tyrone. When we were growing up and we had to walk the West Division, and it's cold, we survived. But you think about the people in our age, we lost a lot of people.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
we
I don't know how to break this to all of us here. We're getting old.
Isn't that the truth?
But still, I mean, we lost some people when they were young.
Oh yeah, okay.
When they were young, we lost a lot of people. So I would have to say that we have learned health-wise how to maintain.
I went to a funeral of a mother. She was 101 years old and was functioning.
Yeah.
101. So
yeah, my grandma was 101 when she died.
Yeah, I mean it and that's kind of the benefit of living in these times, because we do have better health care.
We do.
And and you know, we're not the lifestyle isn't as physically taxing.
Correct.
You know, where people did a whole lot of damage. I was looking at what's my guy's name? Parker, the baseball player. Yeah, played for the Brewers for a little bit too. But you could see he'd had strokes. I mean, if you're fortunate and you're blessed that you don't have a lot of major medical, then you usually in pretty good shape. Now, I don't know how much of it is good fortune. I don't know how much of it is behavior.
Well, and then you've got just what we're exposed to that we're not. I mean, the pollutants in the air, the way that food's processed, grown, so many different things that we don't really have control over too. But
because we all should have been lead poisoned. You think about it. That were born in Milwaukee.
I remember living when we didn't have no gas or electricity and had to cut the stove on illegally. And we never heard about no carbon monoxide poison. We lived for a whole winter with off the eyes on the stove and the oven. So
that's because our windows and stuff were so drafty.
Tyrone, there could have been some major brain damage, and we
didn't even know it.
Yeah. Hey, Julia, we only lived about 6 blocks from West Division, but then my mother had a boyfriend that had this janky car, and we rather walk than have him drop us off. He dropped us off in front of West Division one time. The car was smoking and everything, and we didn't want to. We told him to drop us off on the corner. We get off in front of the building.
You want nobody to see you in that car?
Nobody wanted to see you.
Well, I'm just amazed at certain points in our life how many people we get in one car.
Right.
That has always been amazing to me. Now this one, even now, I'm uncomfortable in the car, and then I'm the same height.
Yes.
But it was just like, because we would drive when we come from the Mount going to D.C., there would be like 5 of us in the car, sometimes 6, and you had your luggage.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got in those cars like that.
The cars were bigger.
Well, that was the problem is with all them people. My mother used to do that windshield wiper discipline. Well, everybody in the back, she told them to shut up and be quiet. And then when you weren't, she just started windshield wiper in the back seat. Everybody got slapped. That's all I remember. I remember that, boy. You'd be like going, don't sit next to the window, man. Don't sit in the middle because you're going to get slapped.
And that was before mandatory seatbelts, folks.
That
was before mandatory seatbelts.
You had those wagons. What did they call them? Station wagon. Yeah, everybody be in the back of those station wagons.
Could you imagine? What about the kids who had to ride all the way to Mississippi and Tennessee in the back?
Oh, I used to love that, man. That was the spot that everybody used to fight over.
Really? Because you could stretch out
in the back. Because you could stretch out. You see man. I used to fight for that seat in the back. Yeah.
Hey, well, y'all have a blessed day.
Hey, you too. And thank you for the good news, man. You're listening to Community Voice. We're inside Be Healthy, Be You. Caller, we're going to grab you right after the break. We'll be right back.
Join us for an evening of unparalleled.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts Mortuary.
Joe Biden pardoned everybody but Jesse Jackson Jr. Caller, welcome to the program.
Wait. Say that again. He did what?
He pardoned everybody but Jesse Jackson Jr.
Unbelievable.
Former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. released a statement after not receiving pardon.
Unbelievable.
What did he do?
Huh?
What did
Remember, he went to jail for campaign finance, tax evasion.
So you pardoned your son
Yeah, and the rest of your family.
and the rest of your family,
But you didn't do Jesse Jackson Jr.
and then you wonder why the black folks is feeling some kind of way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carl, welcome to the program.
It's me again, Solis.
Hey, Solis.
The young man, I'm glad that he was able to get back on the transplant list.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking, you and him were talking about something about the unmentionables, to pay attention to, like, sometimes the side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that virus that, pops up in us baby boomers, that's a possibility. I had it twice. That's that shingles.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, that first round was horrible. I went to Walgreens. I thought about calamine lotion, but it was pink. And then I seen it something else. Y'all, it burned. It was horrible. But I went back and I found Caladril. It was clear. Now, that helped. The second bout, I guess the first round wasn't done. But and you should have seen me when COVID was out getting that shingles test. Because it could pop
shingles
up.
is, you treat shingles the same way you would do chicken pox, right?
No, it comes from the chicken pox. Something, I don't know. You have to ask the medical staff there. But anyway, I know I had it. And I know one thing. I don't want it again because I was scared that they say that you can only get it once. I had it twice, and I was scared that it would come back. I had the COVID in one arm, the shingles in the other one, and it's a 2-part session of that shot. And then I did the flu shot. Yes. Yeah, I've been listening and forget them side effects because, it's like maybe 1 in a million. Yeah, I'm going to die anyway, So, but I'd rather die knowing that I'm not going to get that pain. And that was, it didn't equal up to the Oprah patch when I was growing up. And all that other stuff I used to have to do and make fires and kill chickens and all that other crap.
Anyway, so, Lise, where are you from?
That shingles is on the verge of the Oprah patch session.
So, Lise,
all right,
where are you from, dear? Hello?
Yeah, shingles can be extremely painful, like debilitating, painful, where you can't take care of yourself.
Yeah,
so
shingles doesn't care.
No, it sure doesn't. And and you can just get a small little
ad.
You can just get a little bit, it traces those nerve roots. And so you can get, a 1 or 2 inch, just a small flare up, and it's, it's still painful, but you see people that, their back, their shoulders, their chest, that's really, really painful.
Now, we can get also, because of dry skin, we can get rashes, correct?
Sure. Well, and when our skin gets dry, it cracks. Okay. And then, of course, that puts us at risk for infection in the skin because the skin protects you from infection. But once that skin is broken, and that can definitely happen from dry skin.
All right. We're going to the dungeon. What's happening?
It's the dude from the dungeon. What's up, Pastor P and guests?
Hey, what's happening now?
Hello.
All right. Oh, Leroy, he worked at the company for 17 years. But the boss never can find Leroy. Every day, the boss has searched the whole building looking for Leroy. Never can find old Leroy. So one day, the boss found Leroy. So boss said, hey, Leroy, come here, man. Let me ask you a question. You've been working here for 17 years. Why is it that I never can find you? I look everywhere for you. Leroy looked at him. He looked him in his eye. Leroy said, boss, when you hired me 17 years ago, you told me that good help was hard to find. Back to the dungeon.
I guess I'll give him that.
Where he found that from?
I give him.
He and the judge are working on him.
Yeah,
He's working on him.
I can't say good help is hard.
Good help is hard to find.
Back to the dungeon.
Oh, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
It was the one we were talking about. There is a, I don't know if it was Aristotle, but science says that man cannot create or destroy matter or energy.
Right.
Right. And so this guy, he told the joke, and this guy did something, and he, what was he? Put something together, and he said, I can make something out of. He said, so he picked up some dirt.
Oh yeah.
And God told him to use his own.
Use
your own. Put that down. Use your own. But this idea that we can alter.
Right, but it's neither created nor destroyed.
Right. Everything
It's
that
already
is
there.
here is already here, and it might evolve into something else. And that we see that with illnesses. You know, where she was just talking about shingles, which is part of the chickenpox family. The one I wanted as a kid, which is really crazy, was mumps.
You didn't want that.
Why would you can't even swallow?
I know. I thought I wanted it, but then that's when they do that thing and they put the compresses on.
Shoot, if you've ever had even a slight sore throat, you definitely don't want mumps.
Yeah, I hate it so. Okay, so I have a question. Is it true that once you get your tonsils pulled that you can't get sore throats anymore?
Oh, yeah,
No.
there's a lot
No,
going
you
I
can't
haven't
get you can't get tonsillitis, which is what a lot like kids get. You know, they get tonsillitis, so that's infection, inflammation of those tonsils, and so that's a primary reason you see kids get those. So then they remove them.
Yes,
but then you can get other bacteria that grow in your throat. You can get strep throat.
Okay, because the only reason why I asked is because I had my adenoids and my tonsils removed at 18. Well, it was one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my life. But I haven't had a sore throat since.
Yeah. Well, that's probably because most of what you got was your tonsils were getting infected a lot, and so now you've removed the source of that.
Oh, okay.
But you can get a sore throat from a virus moving,
Sinus
traveling,
draining.
Or sinus postnasal drip,
or just
it
strain.
irritates the throat and you get sore.
Rudy McKissick had to go in because of the strain he put on squalling.
Oh yeah.
It happened to Donnie McClurkin, where he had nodules. You know, you're putting an enormous amount of strain on your vocal cords.
Now I know I had surgery about 4 years ago. If you can see, I still got the mark across my neck. They had to cut me all the way across, and they took out 13 stones that was in my glands. Well, they actually cut out the glands, and they retied some stuff back together. But they couldn't figure out where the stones came from. It was almost like kidney stones, but it was some of the worst pain. Yep, it was calcium buildup. So it was some of the worst pain I've ever felt because it would only help. It would only happen with certain food. So like I can eat regular stuff and it's cool, but I eat like seafood and then it starts swelling up. Like it would swell up. So you will see.
You have an allergy?
No, they couldn't figure it out because after they test everything.
Can you eat seafood now?
Yeah, I can eat seafood now.
Okay. So I got a seafood allergy. I mean, I will seize. I mean, it's.
So man, when they did the X-rays and they showed me on the X-rays, I had a stone that was about this big. That was right here by my airway. So they was like, "Well, we got to hurry up and go in because we don't want that stone to move."
Sure, and then block your airway.
Block the air. So they went in and cut.
Yeah, see that
all the way across. Took out the glands, but when they split the gland open, the doctor was like, "We've never saw anything like this before," because it was just like stones that was falling out, and it was so big, and they was like, "We've never saw anything like it's." It's almost like the feeling of, when you drink some sour and then you start feeling that. But mine, it was constant, and then it would expand. So it kind of felt like it was expanding every time. So it was a constant pain that I couldn't get to. So at one time I had, it was this white calcium that was right underneath my tongue. So I popped it out and it hurted so bad, but it was huge. It was a huge.
So did they tell you, like I'm a doctor, did they tell you that you have a predisposition for calcium buildup?
No, they couldn't. They still can't figure it out. So they still.
Because that sounds like a calcium.
Well, thank God you Still here to
Yeah.
tell about it.
Yeah.
Because that looked like a serious.
Oh, it hurt.
That
Yeah.
looked
When I
pretty
tell you,
serious.
they cut me all the way across and opened up.
Yeah.
And they took the gland. They cut the glands out and then they retied some stuff back together. So in real life, one side of my face is a little bit, deformed for when they had to. Look at this. Keith is terrible. This cat is terrible, man. So he'll laugh at everybody in the classroom. But no, they had to retie.
They laughed at me.
Wow.
To retie some stuff back together. So like when I smile, part of my lip kind of shake because of the nerve that is on.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, they was like, man, we've never saw anything like that ever in our life. So they still trying to figure it out now with the tests and stuff, and that they running, and they was like, we don't know where it came from.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just shows you, we learn new things all the time. And, what we knew 10 years ago about diseases is different than what we know now. So, that's crazy. But there's always something that comes along that they don't know what to do with it.
So I stopped drinking sodas and I drink nothing but,
Mm-hmm.
water. I'm constantly drinking water. So they was like, well, it could be, that you was dehydrated a lot and things like that. But I'm like, I drink water.
Yeah, but you gotta. People drink water, but you gotta drink water.
Like
man, we're not trying to be. We're not doing it for affectation when you look at the brand of water that you all are drinking, but water. There's differences in water.
Oh yeah.
And people try to make, water's the same. No.
Some of it comes just right out of a tap like you would get at home.
Right.
And you can taste it. Like you can taste, and I used to tell people and I stopped drinking faucet water because you'll go by some people's house and they'll give you a cup of faucet water and then it tastes like
Crypto
pipe.
got me off of. I have not drank.
Got a metal taste.
Yeah, like a metal.
When I replaced all the pipes in my house, and put in copper pipes, at first it was a noticeable difference in taste, and they told me you'd probably notice a different. Now, of course, I've gotten used to it, but different pipes, different taste. And the pipes that they took out, they were disgusting.
They were talking
I'm
about
looking at that like, wow, that's the water that I drink comes through those
lead
pipes.
Is the guy who was the mayor at the time also had an interest in lead. Like lead. So that's how we end up doing. And people, lead would last forever. No, it does not.
So don't it chip off and
it just it corrodes,
and then it ends up getting into the water stream.
Right, right. But when Julia was talking about back in the day, it wasn't so much the water we were dealing with. We were dealing with the lead paint
off the wall,
and then you had dust in the house. And kids, when they're at a certain age, they're eating. So they were eating lead chips. Well, that was happening when we were coming along.
Sure. I remember, I know my mother told me I used to chew on the bed, which I'm sure was lead paint.
Right.
Because it was the bed, the baby bed, the crib. Especially your teeth, and you put your mouth on anything.
And they used to make our toys with this.
Lead.
Lead was in everything. It was.
We didn't know.
Just amazing. And just, lead paint. You paint the house. You didn't even think about it. In asbestos.
Yeah.
And the thing about asbestos was it was a fire retardant. But then the flip side of it, now you got a side effect. I don't know how true it was that they were saying the World Trade Center had just removed their asbestos.
That's a big remediation.
Right. Yeah, and they have been removing it, and so when there was nothing there the heat of the fuel was close to 1,000 degrees.
There was nothing that was going to stop
you could
that.
do. It's melting. That's melting steel.
So what about that installation stuff that they used to use that was real itchy? It was yellow. They don't use it anymore because they use like the foam now. When you call it the company, they'll come and put the foam. But it was this yellow installation that they used to put in between the walls.
Fiber.
They still make that.
So they still make that?
And you'll see that, we in climates like Wisconsin, we do a lot of insulation. Because again, we're trying to keep heat in the house. Where in the South, you're not going to see it as much.
Right.
And I'm sure those homes out in California, where you look at a lot of those homes. It was probably great wood,
Mm-hmm.
but when the schools burned down,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of those things where fiberglass. Thank you. It's one of those things where you look at there are benefits. I had never heard this term before. It's called wildland. I'd never heard wildland before. I heard wildlife. But wildland would be places where you have vegetation, forests and things like that. Building that close to those things mean that you are prone to the natural occurrences that happen in that space, right? So forest fires are natural. You have forest fires everywhere. Trees get struck by lightning, bam, you got a forest
and
fire.
that's their way of and forest fires burn themselves to start regrowth and build new.
That's why you don't
their
move
life cycle.
If you go into a national forest and there's been a forest fire, they're not removing the trees.
That's part of the natural.
That's
what they do.
When you die, literally, if we just buried you, you're going to be part of that whole ecosystem. You go back into creation. What's my guy Tyson was saying that he preferred to be buried as opposed to being cremated, because he said cremated is just so quick where he's buried, because you can do natural burials now where they put you in a tree. Yeah, put you in a cloth, take you out in the woods and bury you.
Yeah, because I was about to say, I just saw that they got this guy, he was buried in the tree. They like cut a hole in the tree and put his remains in the tree. And that, I didn't know what that was. Like, what do that do?
It becomes fertilizer, basically.
Yeah, because I saw.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like something.
Why'd you put me in a tree?
Right.
No.
I don't know, maybe.
But how do you see yourself as part of the ecosystem? You know, that I'm a little bit more mindful now of my carbon footprint. I'm trying to be more mindful. So if I can take paper, like at the store, I'll ask for paper bags as opposed to plastic bags. We're doing this now where we were using as opposed to, well, still plastic bottles, because we're getting water out of plastic bottles. But you have people out there who we're getting rid of clothes, and some people take it to the Goodwill, but there's a place that actually recycles. Over in Glendale, where Glen Hill School is, off of Mill Road. Yeah, I got
to get out there, because I got a bunch of suits that I can't even.
Because there are designers who will tell you that they're using recycled fabric. Because that and we talked about it last week. There are more cell phones than people, and the issue with cell phones are the batteries.
Yes.
And how do we dispose of those batteries? And so our convenience and our need for convenience, then there are the kind of residual effects of that, where, man, this is going to happen, and it's great that, what do we do before cell phones? Because we act as if now we could not live without a cell phone.
Yeah.
Well, it would be different because we used to have phone booths.
Yeah.
We used to have landlines. And so
we found out Big Mama died.
Might have been a week later.
Yeah, a week later.
We found, because it's going to take 3 weeks for us all to get to the funeral. Carla, welcome.
That's right. You're right about that.
Well, Junebug said he'd get up here in 2 weeks. So we got to wait on Junebug.
And it always had to be on a weekend, right?
On the weekend, yeah. Carla, welcome to the program.
Yes, hi. I have a question for the nurses. This is Kathy. Like for a water filter, would you recommend a water filter? And then the other one is that what water would you recommend people drink for as bottled water, or should we still boil water? Is that still a good idea also? Boiling water filters, what's the best water to buy? Because I get into different discussions where people say, this is the best water. I have to look it up, and see what they say. I had a friend that had that cancer last year, and she said the doctor told her don't drink the alkaline water, where it does alkaline water says it's going to be good for you if you have cancer.
I did this thinking about what Keith was talking about our footprint. I did get the jugs that have the filter, and and that and
Uh-huh.
it's higher tech now where it can tell you how much it can be in and what comes in, and that water does taste better.
Mm-hmm.
The
You mean
filtered
after the
water.
filter water? The
The
filter
filter
water or
water,
just by?
the filter water, but I just got the picture. I didn't put it. My mom had a filter on her sink years ago, um, for her water. But yeah, you can get the where you can put it on your sink. But I just have the uh, picture.
Mm-hmm. And
Well,
one thing you want to do though, those filters is like, I have the filters on my fridge, for the
Yes.
water coming
Yes.
out, is you want to make sure that they're not all equal. You want to make sure that it's filtering out those things that you want to be filtered out.
So when you
Um,
say a pitcher, you're saying buy a pitcher, which is like a filter, and I can put regular fountain water.
mhm,
I mean, regular water from my sink, and that'll purify it or clean it out.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
but
That's
you know
is
what,
that a
Kathy? It depends on where
yes?
you live, because the issue in Milwaukee is not the quality of the water. The issue in Milwaukee is the water delivery systems.
Mm-hmm.
So if you live in an older part of the city where they have lead laterals, those lead laterals are disturbed, then that means you have lead in the water. That
So no
that
matter what kind of purifier I get, it's not going to help
purifier is
clean
going to
the sink.
catch the lead, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying that it really depends on where you are. So again, in Milwaukee, we have probably the best water in the country.
It
yes,
tastes better
we
than
do.
most.
Right.
Mhm.
But the issue with
Right.
us is how you're getting that water and whether or not you're doing older pipes. And anytime they go in to do any work, that's what they're talking about. The pipes get unsettled.
Right.
They're corroding.
I'm in 53202
Okay.
zip code. Been over there for over 20 years.
That's the older part of the city, though, right?
Right, it is. Yeah, the east side and 03 is and 53211, all that area. That is too 117. But yeah, it comes in Sherwood and it goes all the way down the south side. There's old um, laterals. But I was just trying to figure out if it's more. Should I buy filter or should I buy just the pitcher like she said, or is there a certain water I should buy to carry with me, bottled water? Or what do you think?
Well, we're drinking some of the better bottled water here in Fiji. It really is
Fiji?
great water. It's expensive, but relatively speaking, now I can tell you water that's awful Nestle's. That is, but again, it's you're paying for what you get, or you get
Right.
what you pay for. And there's some people say, why am I doing that with water? And I'm thinking, well, I could do that for a soda. And I'm telling you, the water has better medicinal benefits than that soda will. And I'm paying the
You
same
mean,
thing.
oh, you mean for the Fuji water?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's expensive. Even the coconut water they talk about. But I look online and kind of see what they say. But if I'm really not doing well, I'm going to drink whatever water I can get my hands on to survive. If I'm out somewhere.
Mhm.
I was
But
hey, thanks, Kathy.
I was just going to say, but if you have a pitcher like Julia, you can have a water bottle and take your own water with you wherever you go.
Mhm.
I almost always have a water bottle
Because
with
what's
me.
the issue out in Waukesha with the water? Is it that they have to pipe in
From Milwaukee,
from the lake?
from the lake.
There's something with their water. It's not.
Yeah, I don't
Radon is the
remember.
gas that's in the house, but it's
Right.
something.
I don't remember what
Mercury
it was.
is something with their water and the water quality. You were talking about down south, right?
Mhm.
And my uncle and aunt had a well. That's some of the best water I ever had in my whole life. Well
Yeah, I
water.
heard that.
But then they're out in the country, so they're not dealing with
All
runoffs
the
from
runoffs.
corporations and things like that. We'll get the last caller, and then I know I got to go. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes, I was calling. Could you tell me what is the difference between alkaline water and regular bottled water?
Mm. Well, you have your acid, and then you have alkaline. So one, you need both to be in the middle. You need to be in the middle to balance each other out. But
Okay.
because to have too much alkaline is not good either.
Mhm.
Right. They said alkaline water is water with a pH level higher than 7, which is neutral. Some say that alkaline water can help with certain health conditions, but there's not enough evidence to support these claims. As a matter of fact, there are people saying you get too much alkaline.
That's
Mhm. Well, that's it. If your body tends to shift more towards alkaline, those are testings that doctors can do on your blood and that to see where you're at. Your urine has a certain pH, and that's why we used to really push like cranberry juice, when you had a UTI because it affected the pH of your urine. So yeah.
Yeah. So
All right.
be careful.
Be careful.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I'm just watching. But what I wanted to say is there are locations that people can go to.
Warming centers.
At warming centers if they're cold. The guest house is one on 1216 North 13th Street. Unity Lutheran Church is on East Oklahoma. St. Benedict's, which is down on State, which is St. Ben's, right? And then repairs of the breach, Milwaukee Rescue Mission, and now they're opening up Marcia Cars in the daytime. Nobody has to be cold.
Get out the cold because the cold is a killer. Let me thank Miss Julia Meese, Miss Brenda Buchanan. Be healthy, be you. Callers, we thank you. Carvey, thank you, sir. Jermaine, thank you. Michelle, thank you. The good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.